Over the years I've often found myself pulling into the picturesque little hamlet of Dalwhinnie, looking down Loch Ericht at the bulk of Beinn Alder and thinking to myself, where's the summit of that hill? How'd you get up it? What on earth is going on up there? Well, time to find out.
The proper Gaelic pronunciation is Beinn Eallair. I don't think there is a difficulty. There is an old word, al, which you get in Alcloyd for Dunbar, the old word for Dumbarton, meaning rock, and dor, an old word for water, which is used in many place names.
Beinn Alder is not only a very complex mountain, it's also a very inaccessible mountain because you can't get at it with your vehicle. For instance, if you do it from the Corrour end, you have to get the train in, walk all the way up Lochan, or if you do it from Dalwhinnie, then you have a 6 or 7 mile hike down a private road that travels along beautiful Loch Ericht. But of course the observant viewer amongst you will notice that we're not walking that 6 or 7 miles, I'm going by truck. Permission is needed for any vehicle, but the road is so lovely along the banks of Loch Ericht, it would be much more fun to cycle and much less lazy. Our walking starts from Loch Patrick, then the route follows a Land Rover track to Culra Lodge. From there it's a stalker's path until we break away, head for a ridge and up onto the plateau. Now I think there's a few very good reasons for making Loch Patrick your start point for Beinn Alder. The first is that you get an uninterrupted view of the peak, full frontal summit before your very eyes. The second is that we're 1,500 feet up already, and that's a very good reason. Also, Loch Patrick in the surrounding area here is stunningly beautiful. But if you do get permission from the head stalker to bring your car all this way, there is something I should warn you about. The stag ponies eat your car. I don't know why they eat your car, but they do. And there's an interesting rural alternative to wheel clamping. Because of the inaccessibility of the mountains in this area, the Culra Lodge is a good base to spend a few nights and pick off some peaks. But of course you take pot luck in who you share this cold, damp shed with. If an estate agent's climbing club gets in first, you can always sleep outside under a rock, much more pleasant. Still so much choice in the way we ascend Beinn Alder because we're travelling up now over the Beinn Eallair, but you could of course sneak up on Beinn Alder from Loch Ericht and go round a rather dramatic northeastern corrie, or if you were coming up from Corrour, I think you got some rather dull slopes, but that's not the Munro show way. We go straight up the front. We're going to get up there by something called the Long Reaches Ridge, which does look a little bit scary, but Ross the researcher, man with beard, assures us is what he describes as a sporting scramble. But then he describes 10 pints of heavy as an aperitif. This is the first real piece of uphill legwork in the walk, but the tramp through the heather to get to the base of the ridge is much worse than anything above. A feature of the Badenoch Hills is that they're relatively round and smooth, with virtually no knife-edge arêtes. This side of Beinn Alder offers a couple of ridges, so the opportunity to scramble after a long plod is taken with glee. On a good dry day like this, there's nothing too tricky, but the purist sticking to the crest will have to exercise a bicep or two to overcome a couple of small steps. Some of the rock's a bit shattered, so do take care. This is undoubtedly the most interesting way to attain the Beinn Alder Plateau, a granite dome with 4,000 acres of ground over 3,500 feet, a bewildering navigational nightmare in the mist. Phew. Well, I'm afraid I'm still none the wiser as to what a sporting scramble might entail, but that's certainly a terrific little ridge. As you can see behind me, you get an incredible view of the flat, long walk-in we've had, and so this is a great opportunity to gain some height at last. Makes you feel you're finally attacking Ben Alder. But we're up in the plateau now, so it means we can put our hands back in our pockets as we walk across this lunar landscape all the way to the summit. Why, you're asking yourself, am I standing here at the top of the mountain in my dookers? Well, that's because Ben Alder actually means rock water, and coincidentally, it holds near its summit Britain's highest loch. So I've been slogging up that long, hard ridge, looking forward to a big, deep, cooling swim. So here goes. It's not very deep. Hooray! Finally at the summit of Ben Alder, 3,757 feet. And I'm terribly excited to be up here and finally understand what's going on. It was a very complex, difficult puzzle from down there at Dalwhinnie. Behind me you can see the Anachbeg Ridge. It's not Anachbeg Loch, but Anachbeg Badenoch, and you can see Ben Alder Craig Meggie behind that. And the views continue all the way up Loch Ericht to Dalwhinnie. The other side of Loch Ericht is the Dalwhinnie Forest and the hills of Dramochter. And then we can see all the way down to Rannoch. Now, if you're going to do Ben Alder, which I strongly recommend, you must plan before you come. Know where you're going to stay, know how much time it's going to take you, and then you'll have as good a day out as we're having. Woo, it's absolutely brilliant.